This is OwlUp, where learning happens in minutes, not hours. For a deeper journey, explore all our courses at owlup.co. Now, let's dive in. Welcome to Chapter 1 of Epicurean Encounters, a journey through Stoic ethics. In this episode, titled The Foundations of Stoic Ethics, we'll explore the key philosophers who laid the groundwork for this timeless philosophy. Get ready to dive into the thoughts and teachings that have shaped Stoic ethics and discover how they can resonate in our lives today. Let's get started. Very little is needed for a happy life. It is all within yourself, wrote Marcus Aurelius. Now zoom to today. Endless upgrades, likes, and deadlines. You rush, react, chase. Here's the puzzle. If control is power, why do we feel weakest over the one life we actually live? Stoic ethics begins with a blunt claim. Most of what you chase isn't truly good, it's just preferred. The only thing that counts as good, full stop, is the quality of your character. How wisely, fairly, bravely, and moderately you respond to whatever lands in your inbox or on your doorstep. That's a jarring downgrade from money, status, even health. But it's also a relief. You can stop treating every email, rating, or diagnosis as a referendum on your worth. Zeno and the early Stoics weren't armchair theorists. They were building a kind of mental operating system. Their question wasn't, what should we own, but what sort of person should we be while owning, losing, or using anything? Instead of sorting days into good or bad based on outcomes, they graded themselves on judgments and intentions. We'll trace how that shift, from outcomes to inner stance, became the core of Stoic ethics. Stoic thinkers ground this radical focus on virtue in a simple observation. Events arrive mostly without your permission. Markets swing, people misread your tone, bodies fail, trends shift. What you bring to that chaos is a small, fiercely guarded zone the Stoics call what's up to us. How you choose, speak, persist, and let go. Everything else, health, reputation, even your job, belongs to a looser category they label indifference. Useful, dangerous, tempting, but never the measure of you. This clears space to ask, if those can't define success, what reliably can? Here's the Stoic move that often feels most extreme. They don't just say externals are unstable, they say they never count as good or bad in the first place. Promotions, diagnoses, applause, cancellations, these are raw materials. What gives them moral charge is how you use them. To make sense of this, the early Stoics divided everything into 3 ethical buckets. 1. Good. Only actions shaped by wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. 2. Bad. Actions that betray those same qualities. Cowardice, injustice, excess, folly. 3. Indifferent. Everything else. Bodies, salaries, holidays, devices, weather. But they quickly add a twist. Among indifferents, some are preferred, health over sickness, sufficient income over crushing debt, and some dispreferred, pain, poverty, humiliation. You're rationally drawn to the first group and avoid the second, yet neither group upgrades or downgrades who you are. That's why a Stoic can work hard for a raise, then lose it to office politics, and still say the central question is untouched. Did I act with justice and practical wisdom? The outcome can sting, but the ethical verdict doesn't swing with it. This is also where their famous, in our control, not in our control, split gets sharpened. What's truly up to you isn't just inner chatter. It's any choice where your reasoning can still operate. What you endorse, what you refuse, how you respond. Once an outcome crosses into the world, other people's decisions, random events, it shifts into the indifferent zone, even if it matters a lot to your comfort or plans. The earliest accounts in Diogenes Laertius show Zeno already pressing this line. A flourishing person would rather lose money honestly than keep it by cheating, because the first preserves the only secure good. Later, Seneca takes the same framework into messy daily life, court politics, illness, exile. His letters circle one insistence: never trade integrity for advantage, because advantage can vanish in an afternoon. On this view, the core ethical task becomes selective attachment. Care intensely about the quality of your choices. Care lightly, though intelligently, about all the rest. A founder walks into a funding meeting having prepped for weeks. She's slept well, rehearsed clearly, treated her team decently throughout the crunch. The investors pass. By most business metrics, the day is a failure. On a Stoic scorecard, it's cleaner. The result goes in the happened column, her conduct in the mine column. She adjusts the deck, not her self-respect. Or take a friend caring for a difficult parent. He can't dictate mood swings or medical turns, but he can keep asking, what's the decent next step? Some days that's a calm conversation. Others, it's setting a boundary instead of exploding. The situation may never feel fixed, yet he can still measure progress by fewer regrets at night. For a concrete modern parallel, think of how seasoned firefighters train. They can't choreograph where flames jump, but they drill movements and communication so thoroughly that in chaos they fall back on practiced habits. Stoic ethics is that kind of training, but for how you answer emails, raise kids, argue, and lead. Stoic ideas may quietly reshape how we design systems, not just how we act inside them. Picture product teams treating virtue like a design spec. Features must be honest, fair, and non-manipulative before they're fast or sticky. In AI, preferred outcomes, profit, engagement, efficiency, could be ranked below transparent reasoning and fair treatment. Over time, that shift in priorities might work like a slow software update, patching ethical bugs in institutions we currently take for granted. So the question quietly shifts from, how do I get what I want, to, what kind of person am I becoming while I pursue it? Think of reformatting a cluttered drive. You're not tossing every file. You're changing the folder structure so the important things are easier to find, easier to act on, and harder to lose when everything else crashes. Before next week, ask yourself, 1. In a stressful moment today, what would it look like if I treated virtue, wisdom, justice, courage, moderation, as the only real good and everything else, emails, deadlines, other people's moods, as indifferent tools rather than threats? 2. When I disagree with someone today, how can I practice the Stoic idea of oikiosis by seeing them as part of the same human community instead of an opponent? And what specifically would I do or say differently? 3. Looking back on tonight, where did I let externals, money, status, praise, convenience, outweigh my character? And what concrete, Stoic-aligned choice could I make differently in that kind of situation tomorrow? This was OwlUp, your daily step forward. To keep learning with structured courses and more insights, go to owlup.co. Until tomorrow!